November 28th, 2025. Me, my dad, and a friend were in La Plata, Missouri finishing our annual Thanksgiving road trip when it was time for us to get going the next morning. When we woke up, La Plata was covered in a blanket of snow. Luckily, when we got to Joplin, it had all cleared up. The reason why we were in Joplin? We were going to chase the CPKC holiday train through the Ozark Mountains across 3 states in 200 miles. Our first stop was in Tipton Ford, which is right outside GoTown, USA, where we see it fly through the rain. Our next view was in Goodman, Missouri, where it rounds a curve and gives us a closer look at the lights and murals on the rail cars. After Goodman, it was held up in a siding for approximately 30 minutes because of CPKC train 261, which had CP 7045 trailing second. We got to Anderson, Missouri, where we used our time to do a pit stop at a gas station, and when we got to our next shot, it wasn't long before we heard 2246's horn blaring through the mountains. We were neck and neck with 2246, and we were able to barely get ahead at some parts. We then hurried to Ginger Blue, Missouri to the Elk River Bridge, which is a very popular spot as there were at least 40 people at the bridge site for this train. After taking a wrong turn, we barely made it to our next spot, which was the Arkansas Highway 59 overpass, which shows the CPKC line paralleling Butler Creek. We had to blaze off to our next spot because of its close proximity, which was Decatur, Arkansas, which has a preserved KCS streamliner, KCS 73D, which stands to show the railroad's influence on the town. We were able to pace it yet again just south of Decatur on our way to our next spot in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, where another CPKC manifest was waiting for it. CPKC runs several grain trains along its Heavener corridor, so we were bound to see one eventually, and this one was so large it blocked the other end of the siding, so the holiday train had to wait for this train to fully clear the siding. Have you seen this railcar with a light mural of a steam locomotive named Rudy and asked, who is Rudy? Well, if you're from the north part of the CPKC system, that's understandable. Rudy was the icon of the KCS Holiday Express, which ran from 2001 to 2024 when it retired following the CPKC merger. Rudy would be held at the rear of the train and would smile back at the watchers. Unfortunately, Rudy was retired alongside the rest of the train and now sits in Shreveport, but there are efforts to save and preserve and even run Rudy again. The CPKC grain leaves the main, and since we didn't know that it was blocking the holiday train, we believe that we had lost it due to its huge power move on a grain shuttle. When the end approached, we saw Christmas lights that looked like the holiday train, which gave us a huge relief. But we still had to hurry out of there because the train began to move shortly after getting cleared. We then get to our wide shot in Watts, Oklahoma, where yet another grain shuttle is in the siding, allowing the holiday train to pass, this time without stopping. Here we chase it south of Watts. My next shot is in Westville, Oklahoma, which has an older Freightliner cab over, which is pretty cool to see. But my camera was having problems, which frustrated me, as you could hear. Luckily, I resolved them just in time. Here you can see the holiday train in the distance just north of Stillwell, Oklahoma, where it has a stop, and again, another train holds it up, this time being CPKC 181. And there you can see 181 pass a holiday train. Luckily, they were on time, so they didn't have to worry about delays, and it seemed like this train was the only one nearby. For the next spot, we shoot it at Sallisaw, Oklahoma at Redwood. At Sallisaw, it crosses over the Union Pacific Mopac Wagoner subdivision. Then we move to Howe, Oklahoma, where we are at the east terminus of the AOK Railroad, where you can hear some nice echoes along with an old Rock Island signal. After Howe, we move to our final spot of Heavener, Oklahoma, which will also be the night layover for the train. Here it is passing the fuel pads. We slowly follow it between the fuel pads and the Heavener show spot. And then we barely make it to see it pulling into Heavener to start its show, featuring American rock band Smash Mouth and Canadian singer J.J. Wild. The next morning, we see them pulling out of Heavener Yard, where they pull to a stop and get held for another hour because of a southbound mixed freight intermodal train. After the train fully passes, 2246 is finally given the clear to leave to head to Shreveport, Louisiana. And from there, that finishes our chase and wraps up this video. Thank you for watching and see you later. Merry Christmas.